Mahlamba and Sekola. Matlaletsa accused of killing 21-year-old Brendin Horner on a farm in Paul Roux in the Free State. The trial, which started on Monday, saw the state drop murder charges against the accused. The remaining charges are of stock theft and robbery after an incident in March last year, 7 months prior to the murder of Horner. Horner's body was found tied to a pole with a rope around his neck. His death stoked racial tensions in the sprawling farming town of the Eastern Free State. Let's now cross live to the court proceedings.
It is further common cause that 2 cell phones were found in the possession of the accused and they were confiscated. Clothes belonging to accused number 2 were confiscated because they presented what looked like bloodstains. The bakkie that the deceased was driving on the evening of his death was found on the N5 between Paul Roux and Bethlehem. Fingerprints and blood samples were taken in and around the bakkie. None of the accused fingerprints matched those found in the bakkie. The blood samples that were analyzed proved to be blood samples of 3 persons other than the 2 accused. The cellular phone records of the accused also showed that they were not near the crime scene at the relevant time. The bloodstains found on accused number 2's clothing did not match with the blood of the deceased. At best, both accused gave alibis to their whereabouts at the relevant time. The only evidence that linked the 2 accused to the commission of the offences are the purported confessions or admissions made by accused number 1 in the presence or absence of accused number 2 to various witnesses. The testimonies of the witnesses to the purported confessions or admissions are not only contradictory, but paint the accused, especially accused number 1, as being a deranged person who was hell-bent on telling everybody who cared to listen to him that he committed the murder and robbery. On their versions, the accused actually invited arrest. I say this for the following reasons. Mr. Kambule testified that at approximately 1900 hours on the 2nd of October 2020, he was at the Paku Tavern. I will hereinafter refer to it as the tavern. Accused number 1 was sitting in the company of plus minus 5 people. He, that is Mr. Kambule, heard the accused telling the people that they were walking to fetch sheep, but they saw a car's lights and a torchlight. The farm gate was opened. They decided to close it. A vehicle traveled towards the gate. The driver, a white person, alighted to open the gate. Accused number 1 cornered him, and accused number 2 stabbed him with a knife.
ke wa bona koloi me wa bona police ka isa motho abula he me le motho wa motho ka ba le kwa me le hore he motho a pila ya yena me so.
He stated that accused number 1 did not say where this incident happened or when it happened. He, however, failed to disclose the content of this important conversation between accused number 1 and the other people in his first statement to the police when the incident was supposed to be still fresh in his mind.
Me ula sito ore au kalu se ore na mutso tabisto ata luso na chikala kia tahiti tuang kia tahiti katlaiti me pela he dikai na ya kopa din kai mo re ula sito ore ai lega maponisa ate karoina into the pressure mo hai.
I hasten to mention that this witness later disavowed his statement to the police and actually said that he did not say any of the things mentioned in the statement. In fact, he specifically made reference to a conspiracy to falsely incriminate accused numbers 1 and 2. The other witness who supposedly heard the confession was Ms. Matlaletsa, who testified that at about 1930 she was at the tavern and she shared a table with accused 1, 2 and 1 Muzele.
Me pakiyo mwele more ili ya upenda watina kia ne mateke mutoko me wata mtite more onale mo chabene na tontapo rai kaba masma mara kamera subasa pam mantibo me onale bona mo chabene me onale so abiro ubedi de matele.
After an hour, that is approximately 2000 hours 30, she heard accused number 1 telling Muzele that there was a farm that they went to. They found a white boy and they assaulted him and tied him to a pole using a rope.
Me kamera hora kita kan sama orang kamera hora ubedi kita mulai mau tam so abedi apela mate ke hora bagi baya maplasi me kita mulai bagi ke ba mana marwala tua me hoi mulai bagi ke ba tamil patinga tap.
Because this person disturbed them in their work, they stabbed him and put the knife on his work headgear outside the gate.
Mereka bakal ini laura emosional nak kasih kita mesti semua bona. Baik bang tar, me bangga kasih bayar hai, mesti bayar dia mon pinahek.
She then expressed disturbedness as well as pointed out to accused number 1 that he has no shame. How can he do such an act? Accused number 1 then used lewd language about her sexual morality. A verbal altercation ensued between the two of them. She testified that she did not see Mr. Kambule at the tavern that night. At the time that accused number 1 recounted the incident to Muzele, Maki and Malifu, with whom she went to the tavern, were dancing and they could not hear what was said. The next day, she heard about the incident. She then phoned Mr. Skippers, Tabiso, and told him what she heard. And she thereafter spoke to Captain Myberg. She testified that accused number 1 was very drunk when he spoke about the incident She says he was drunk because she could see that he could not walk properly and he was talking loud and did not care who hears what he says.
Me ula talusa hato re mtuso apil na taua ulu ka tsidenu me ulu komitsu ko ngba mtuso sa kono sa mai hante abua ha ulu asa katalo na kimama ugan jabatibu again.
She says that she informed Maki as well as Malifu about the reasons for the altercation between her and accused number 1. Mafusi Mutlokwa, Matleke's sister, testified that she went to the tavern with Tumelo and not with Mafusi or Matleke. Of Malefu. Pardon? Upon their arrival, accused number 1 stood up and walked away. Matleke then informed her that there was an altercation between her and accused number 1. She asked Matleke what the reason for the altercation was. Me udam talusita hamtela uta kitamun kusuati ya bawata ma ebe mateke pam talusita yo unde kotita no pakinta bo na kusuati ya bota or na ide ine bakwati na. Matleke then informed her that the reason therefore was accused number 1 accused her of calling the police every time she sees them doing something. She confirmed that accused number 1 was very drunk. On 3 October 2020, the morning she was on her way to Bethlehem, she saw accused number 1 at the tavern and she went to him and asked him to buy her alcohol. He refused and told her that he only has enough money for him and accused number 2. Accused number 1 then told her that he has something to tell her, and he told her that they were at Maparaka's place. Maparaka is a person who also works at this Blokran's estate. Malefu Matolo testified that on the 2nd of October 2020, she went to the tavern with Maki, Mafusi, as well as Matleke. Accused number 1 left the table where he sat and he went to Matleke and spoke to Matleke. A verbal altercation ensued. She later also asked Matleke what the problem was between her and accused number 1, and Matleke told her that accused number 1 asked her what she wants at the tavern. Mr. Moses Mukwena testified that he went to the tavern at approximately 2000 hours. He bought alcohol and sat outside where he saw a group of plus minus 7 persons, 5 males and 2 females. At approximately 2100 hours, he heard accused number 1 say to this group of people that he gave him presumably the deceased, his mother.
Me o ina ko ra ko romanti ko ula o ka mkusuo wa bi aka se ka hloka sena na hore mo file man.
Another person said that he took a firearm. He does not know whose firearm it was, but he just heard the person say that. The other one said, I took his vehicle and left it next to a farm on the road to Bethlehem.
Me ula ula mchi mga bulwa ya uru kia tunya sa hai ati ko na hunu ko ta tunya sa man. Au te mo na ta lo sa ka bolo yure un kile ko lo yi ni bai sile hau kinya na le mapula ati.
The other one mentioned taking a wallet and further demonstrated that they tied the person up since they have already taken the property.
Me emo ngene ula ka lo sa ya ula amundela ashi.
Because he was.
And we're coming out of this court proceedings to take you to this now. The resident